Hey guys, so my name is Leon, and today we're gonna be going over the recap of episode 2 of Big Brother 22, aka Big Brother All Stars 2. Um, Overall, the episode was pretty good, it's pretty solid. It gave us a little bit of the dynamics in the house. It didn't show, I was surprised of stuff that it didn't show, like for those who watch live feeds or watch spoilers, the episode showed a little bit what was going on in the house, but didn't show everything. What was going on? Like for example, I'm not gonna talk about too much about some of the spoilers that was on live feeds, but for example, Cody and Tyler's relationship. Like there was a scene on live feeds where Cody and Tyler went into the storage room and Tyler whispered to Cody, "Let's do this, like let's win the game." And then Case came as soon as he said that, Case came to basically almost caught them in the act. And it seemed like Case did it, but as we've seen later in the episode, Case figured that Cody was gonna put him on a block, um, based on conversations they both were having with each other. But anyways, we're not gonna talk about too much about the live feeds or the spoilers out there right now. We're gonna just simply talk about the episode. So here's some thoughts I had about the episode. Like I said, it was pretty good. Cody won HOH, as we know from episode one. Cody had, a bunch of people come up to him. He had Enzo come up to him. He had, surprisingly, it only showed one time of Tyler talking to him at the middle of the night, which I was surprised it showed that scene instead of the one that I mentioned, a live freeze with Kasich catching them in the act, almost. It also showed that Cody was, everyone was trying to talk to Cody or lying to with Cody or trying to make sure they were good with Cody. Initially, I just seen the episode, Cody's, was talking to Nicole. It was interesting that Cody and Nicole, well, it was not interesting, but it was kind of surprising that Cody and Nicole was going to try to do the both sides thing in a way that Cody was trying to do the guy alliance and Nicole trying to do the girl alliance, and then their real loyalty was to each other. That's not surprising. It was kind of surprising that they was gonna do all the things and then give the information back to each other. So that was an interesting tidbit in the episode. Another thing that kind of was interesting to me was that the conversations between Cody and Janelle, conversation between Cody and Kesa, and I was kind of surprised how quick Kesa picked up the fact that he was kind of in trouble with Cody, and it kind of gave me a little nostalgia because Case was also good at this in season 6 or 7. Like he kind of have a good sense and good read on basically in his based on his conversations with other people. He has a great read on who he can trust and who he couldn't trust. So he knew right away while targeting Cody that he knew Cody was going to target him, which brings us to the next part of the episode, which they announced a twist to safety VIP thing. I think the safety suite, that's what they call it. And I was kind of shocked that only Case and Janelle participated in the competition and not more people. I was expecting at least four, maybe at least like Keisha, um, maybe like Nicole, Anthony, for example, to compete. Maybe that's just me, but it was good and interesting to see just Case and Janelle compete in the competition. So whoever won was say the other. Like I knew if Case won, he was gonna save Janelle, point blank period. But when it comes to Janelle, I felt like Janelle would have saved Case, but also felt like Janelle would have been like, hey, let me try to make a maneuver, save someone like a Nicole, Franzo, or Danny Donato, save someone like that, so that way she can maneuver and work with some of those people in the house. But surprisingly, Kesa won the competition. I thought Janelle was gonna win the competition. When it showed the time, I thought Kesa was gonna do it in 4 minutes. It showed that he did it in around 7 minutes, and also that Janelle did it in I think 18 minutes. Was I was like shocked. Wow, Janelle is known for being a physical threat, so it was kind of shocking that she did in 18 minutes. It's like damn, like I feel bad. But anyways, Janelle and Kesa competed in the competition. Kesa won. He won a safety suite. Basically, what the twist is like for the first 3 weeks of the season, if you're not the HOH, everybody gets one VIP pass, and they can use for any 1 of the 3 weeks, the first week or any of the next 2 weeks. And what happens is the VIP pass lets them compete in one competition. So if you compete, let's say in the first competition like Janelle or Kesa, you're not allowed to compete in the other two. Or let's say if you're Memphis and let's say somebody like Nicole Anthony or Kevin wins HOH, or somebody that Memphis not really aligned with, or Enzo, whoever, not really aligned with in the next HOH next week, and you don't feel comfortable that you're gonna be safe, you compete in the second one. And then if you compete second one, then you're not allowed to compete in third one, so on and so forth. So basically, this twist allows you to compete one time for safety. If you win a competition, you are safe, and you can also save one other person with you. The other person that you do save has to suffer a punishment, and in this case, Janelle had to wear a star suit, whatever. It kind of looked weird, honestly, to be honest, but it's not really a punishment to me. Janelle always has to wear a suit, whatever. It wasn't really a punishment. I think that's well worth being safe for the first week. I'm hoping, well, not hoping, but I'm sure that the punishment will get worse for the people who are safe. Who knows? That being said, Case and Janelle win the comp as well. Case won the comp, save Janelle. That ruins Cody's nomination choices. So it's kind of interesting. Another thing that's interesting to me is like seeing people kind of playing passively, which I understand. Like people like Enzo, for example. I'm surprised that Enzo didn't get like a bunch of the guys together and make alliance. Like good for Enzo to do this. I'm surprised that Enzo didn't initiate that. Like he kind of like, I think one thing he learned from initiating alliance, he didn't want to be the guy who running things. He wanted to be passive, and I think certain players this season should be more passive, and certain players should be more aggressive. If that makes sense. I think Enzo being passive is great for his game. Memphis, for example, being passive is great for his game. Cody, he's the HOH. I think Cody should be more aggressive, but leaving that aside, um, with Kesa and Janelle safe, it forces Cody to, get more blood in his hands, get some more housemates annoyed. He had a conversation with Kevin. Kevin, his conversation with Kevin was before the nomination ceremony, and Kevin was one of the people who's thinking about putting up. He's thinking about putting up Keisha, um, Ian, Nicole Anthony, like people like that who aren't on the. There's no big alliance yet too. That's another thing, but there are people that are, if there's a big alliance that does form, from what I seen in the episode or what you seen live feeds, it includes people that are not Kevin, not Keisha, Casey Janelle, Ian, and Nicole Anthony. I think all those people are outside of that lines are looking at outside looking in. So with that being said, um, like I said, with Casey and Janelle safe, and make Cody has to pick 2 new nominees, and by that episode showed that he puts up Keisha and Kevin, which I think he's doing a good job as an HOH so far. I think he's nominating people who he didn't really talk to. The only issue is with the whole Case and Janelle thing. I think he can handle those conversations a little better, but at the same time, he did the best he could. He's the first week HOH. Everybody's gonna come to him trying to like feed him like whatever. Um, Another thing that really interests me is the fact that obviously with the Devon and Nicole thingy, I was kind of intrigued that they want like to see that Nicole try to like make amends with Devon, but I was surprised that she didn't do it sooner, like after she won her season, that she only did it then. And I was kind of like, that's interesting. If you're Nicole, why not talk to Devon about it like years ago? But then, hey, who knows? People busy, whatever. And at the conversation, it was good that not good, but it was interesting that Devon Ryder was like, As soon as Nicole left the room, she said, okay, to look out for. She knew that Nicole, not to say Nicole shouldn't be as maybe Nicole Franzel, by the way, maybe Nicole Franzel generally want to work with Devon this time, but Devon is like, yeah, I don't trust Nicole Franzel like that. Yeah, so it's good that Devon has a read based off of that. And another thing that's kind of interesting to me is cases confessionals or cases diary room session. Like, I don't know. But then Big Brother diary rooms is always kind of over the top in some way, and people will say things that you don't picture them saying. So it's not a surprise to me. But yeah, it was generally a good episode. Cody did good nominations for what I would think. His target is more Keisha than Kevin. Kevin is his pawn, but let's say if the right person wins a veto and let's say Keisha gets taken off, then he's gonna probably put Ian on Nicole Anthony, someone like that. I think everybody else should be safe with him, but who knows? But Keisha is his target to go home. He doesn't want Kevin to go home. He had a great conversation with Kevin before, putting him up. He feels bad about putting Kevin up, but at this point, it's only week one. There's no major alliances thrown. There are people who are coming to get slow. There's a majority, but like I said before, everybody's passive in this game right now. So no one wants to be like, hey, this is the line, blah, blah, blah. But I'm sure that's going to eventually be done. Um, I think Keisha, if she needs to win the beat, if she doesn't, then she's in big trouble because her only solid allies are Janelle and Kesa. It's not that Memphis is not a good ally for her. Memphis is trying to work with her, but I think Memphis is trying to play both sides, and I think that's a good move for him. But also, I think he should try to keep Keisha for a little bit. Like he shouldn't just let Keisha go home week one. I think that's not great for his game. Keisha is at least solid number, and sure Keisha may turn. I don't know what Keisha might do. May turn on him or maybe lower to whoever, but having Keisha go home week one isn't really great for Memphis' game. Um, yeah, but other than that, I think I'm just excited to see how it turns out. I'm excited to see who wins the veto. I'm excited to see what happens, who's going to be the replacement nominee if somebody wins, the right person wins the veto. I'm excited to see how the week one dynamics are. I'm excited to see how alliances are. The Have Not Room was all open today. Not open today, but open. The Have Not Room was open this episode. I'm excited to see how that turns. But yeah, Cody so far having a good HOH. Other than the case of Janelle conversations, he's solid. He has options, and see what goes for them. Oh yeah, two more things before I go, and I forgot to mention this earlier. It was early in the episode when Kesa and David, from last season were talking. Kesa asked David what made him wanting to go on the show, and David said he wasn't really a fan, but when he saw there was no black winners, it was really a great moment for me. It kind of made me smile a little bit because if I would play Big Brother, that's a main reason why I would play the game. I want to be one of the first black winners to win. Unlike David, I'm a actual Big Brother super fan. So that's, if I do ever apply to Big Brother one day, I wanted to go on and I want to be one of the first black winners to ever win Big Brother. So that conversation with Hayes and David kind of made me smile because I'm happy that even though David is kind of new, fresh to the game, he's had good attention for the game. The last thing is I want to talk about is we didn't really see Nicole Anthony in this episode or Christmas, for example. Christmas like invisible. Like Christmas didn't really had anything in the episode. Like I didn't see Christmas at all. But yeah, that's it, guys. I'm gonna try to do a recap of every Big Brother episode of Big Brother All Star. So just look out for the next video, and thanks for watching. I guess bye.